Hey there guys, so with the release of Transformers 1, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to go back and rewatch all the Transformers films and rank them all from worst to best. And number 9 is Revenge of the Fallen. The plot is so thin there's hardly any Transformers, and that's because the first movie was such a big hit, the studio wanted a sequel in 2 years. Unfortunately, there was a writer's strike going on at the time, so the film had to suffer for it. You got racist robots, you got robots humping, you got cringe jokes, you got Shia LaBeouf's character making out with a Decepticon disguised as a beautiful woman, but there's no explanation to it. And the film never mentions it again. And 5 minutes later, Optimus Prime gets killed. You got the human characters have to travel across Egypt, but before that they somehow teleport there. This film is so bad, there's hardly any story to it. This feels like a 10-page draft stretched into a 2.5-hour movie. The two best things to come out of this movie were the action stuff. Like at the beginning, when you got Optimus Prime taking on 3 Decepticons in the forest, that's like arguably the best action scene in the franchise. Then later on you got Optimus Prime coming back and he gets an upgrade taking on Megatron and the Fallen. That's pretty good as well, I enjoyed that. At number 8 is The Last Night. The reason why I put it over Revenge of the Fallen, that Anthony Hopkins and Mark Wahlberg are so bad in this movie that they're entertaining. But this film has such a wacky and bonkers story to it. You got King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. You got Bumblebee fighting Nazis. You got this young girl that's introduced at the beginning of this film, but she's hardly in this movie. You got the Dinobots, but they're only in this for like 5 minutes. You got the government hiring Megatron and choosing his own team, even though he's killed thousands of people and tried to destroy the world a few times. Mark Wahlberg's character is somehow a descendant of one of the Knights of the Round Table, and Laura Haddock's character is somehow a descendant of Merlin. And Optimus Prime is hardly in this movie, and when he is, he's mostly evil, and somehow Bumblebee gets his voice back just before almost getting killed. At number 7 is Age of Extinction. Now the reason why I put it over Revenge of the Fallen and The Last Night is because it does have some really good ideas, like the humans hunting down the Transformers and creating their own Transformers. And this could have been the soft reboot that the franchise needed at the time, with a new set of characters and a 5-year time jump. Unfortunately, for a 2-hour and 45-minute movie, there's hardly any story to it. It just feels like main events coexist together. The first act and the second act feels like a third act. And for the marketing that's making a big deal out of these Dinobots, they come way too late at the end. And Megatron comes back and he doesn't do anything. At number 6 is the 2007 Transformers. This is a pure nostalgic film that doesn't quite hold up today for me. I mean, it's full of cringe jokes, too much focus on the human characters, especially the ones that don't come in till later sequels. Optimus Prime doesn't come in until like an hour in. But this is still a fun movie, and the story is simple, yes, but it pays off into a nice, action-packed third act. There is charming chemistry between Sam and Bumblebee. Everything from the score and the Linkin Park music is top notch. And the film isn't saturated with the Michael Bay stuff that we come to hate in the sequels. At number 5 is Dark of the Moon. We can all agree this is the best Michael Bay sequel. Yes, it has all the Michael Bay-isms that we come to hate in a Transformers movie. And you got the whole story idea of Shia LaBeouf's character getting a job, but that doesn't really go anywhere. You got Rosie Huntington-Whiteley's character, I think I'm saying her name right, who is basically a cop-out to Megan Fox. And you got Patrick Dempsey, who is a terrible villain in this movie. You didn't need him. But when it comes down to action, Michael Bay is great at. This definitely has the best Michael Bay action in a Transformers movie, and that's what I love about this movie. It doesn't feel like a green screen. It feels practical as it can be. The Chicago stuff is top notch. And number 4 is Rise of the Beasts. Even with a new director and a new reboot, it still has those problems that you would expect from a Transformers movie, with flat jokes, a lack of original story. The human characters are slightly more interesting than the characters you get from the Michael Bay movies. Optimus Prime is a dick in this movie most of the time. That being said, it has a fun third act that you would want from a Transformers movie. The personalities and the designs of the Transformers were top notch, and I love the new additions of the Terracons and the Maximals. That could have been its own movie. At number 3 is the 1986 animated Transformers the movie. Now for a long time I had no intentions of watching this movie because it ties into an 80s cartoon, and Transformers Armada was my generation of Transformers, but I decided to give this film a watch just to add a new dynamic to this list. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. For an 85-minute movie, it doesn't mess around with its narrative, it gets straight to it. And for an 80s cartoon movie, it's visually stunning. It has that classic Transformers look to it. It has an intense score with an iconic soundtrack to it. Optimus Prime getting killed at the beginning and not coming back like Revenge of the Fallen really stands out in terms of its narrative. Yes, the film can be cheesy, but it is a fun watch. And after watching this film, Grimlock is officially my favourite Transformer now.
Throw the switch, Grimlock! Me, Grimlock, ready, but forgot which button. I went through it with him 5 times. I can't believe it! Grimlock!
At second place is Bumblebee. At its core, this is basically a rip-off to the Iron Giant. Travis Knight came along and brought so much heart and charm into this movie. Bumblebee feels like a genuine character rather than a robot that can transform into a car. Haley Steinfeld is the best human character we had in these movies. She feels like she came out of a John Hughes movie. And for a franchise that was getting a bad rap and tiresome, Travis Knight came along and brought new life to this franchise and a reboot that the franchise desperately needed at the time. So at first place is the latest Transformers one. This is the Transformers movie I've been waiting my whole life for. It has great character development. You understand Megatron. His whole life has been a lie. The bond between Megatron and Optimus Prime is some great stuff, and when they eventually become enemies, you felt something. The voice cast is top notch. Who never thought Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime would work? We finally dive into Cybertron, its philosophy and its society. To me, this is the most emotional, mature, funny Transformers movie we've had to date, and the animation just stands on its own. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Go like, share and subscribe. Let me know, where would you rank all the Transformers movies? Go check out my Facebook, my Twitter and my Instagram page. You guys are awesome. I got your back.